Hello, it's me, Strange NA, and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I will be explaining some questions that I had on the plot of the Lorax, which is a movie that was published by Illumination Studios in 2012. If you haven't already seen that, I would recommend doing so as a kind of mix-up this entire video because it's based off the movie, obviously. But if you haven't already seen it, I will summarize the plot here. There's this kid called Ted, and he likes a woman who likes trees. The only problem is because they're all dead. Not the people, obviously. The trees are all dead because of pollution caused by a guy called the Once-ler, who we'll get onto later. So now they all live in a city called Fneedville, where they have to buy air off a rich midget with a weird haircut called Aloysius O'Hare, which we'll also cover later. Ted wants to get a tree so he can impress the woman, so he goes to the Once-ler, who is the owner of the last tree seed. After receiving the seed, Ted plants it in the ground despite the warnings from O'Hare, because he knows that you can get free oxygen from the tree and not have to buy it from O'Hare. Ted gets kissed by the woman from the beginning, which is weird considering he's like 10 years old. Also, he kisses a cereal box midway through the movie in a really over-sexual scene. But that was basically the plot of the movie. Just a summary if you've already watched it, and if you haven't already watched it, I would once again recommend doing so. But now let's meet the main characters. The Once-ler. The Once-ler was just a dude until he made a product called a fneed, which sold really well. Due to the fneeds being made of leaves, he chopped down the trees to harvest them. This sparked the appearance of a magical ginger midget called the Lorax. A lot of midgets in this movie. Despite the Lorax's warning, the Once-ler cuts down all the trees and retires to his house outside of the city of Fneedville in the barren wasteland that used to be a forest. The green clothes he wears when Ted visits him for the first time is first seen in the musical number How Bad Can I Be? There is the man himself. Aloysius O'Hare. A rich midget with claims to over $1 billion, he first started as a braces-wearing kid with an idea to sell oxygen after the air was polluted by the Once-ler. He sells oxygen for a while until he gains a couple of zillion dollars. Or did he? That's a question that we'll cover on later. Cy. You don't know him, but his name's Cy. He's just the O'Hare delivery guy. He thinks trees might be worth a try, so he says, let it grow. Now for the questions. How much power does a tree use? Electric trees. In the city of Fneedville, natural trees are non-existent. This is a very important fact for the plot of the movie, as it allows O'Hare to sell oxygen as a replacement for the air that is naturally produced by trees. In the opening shot of the movie, we learn that trees in the city are artificial, and it is said that in one line that they run on 96 batteries. Here you see a picture of some inflatable bushes and the electric trees in the background. The batteries. In the scene pictured below, the batteries are mostly blue in colour with white ends. They closely resemble a D-type battery, of which I believe to have found a suitable counterpart. Power. The batteries are listed on Amazon and having a power output of 1.5 volts according to their title on Amazon as HQ Alk DO1 Alkaline 1.5V non-rechargeable batteries alkaline cylindrical 1.5 VD blue white 60.5 millimeters. The batteries are arranged in 3 columns, meaning that each one is 32 batteries high. This means we have a combined power output of 48 volts. 32 times 1.5 is 48, due to the fact that the voltage adds when batteries are connected in series, but not when arranged in parallel. According to several sources, an average D-type battery of 1.5 volts has the current of around 6,000 to 8,000 milliamperes, although according to the review below, the only review of the batteries are not too good, so we'll assume it's 6,000 milliamperes. Battery received very, but then very low, not to say it empty. It illuminates less than the used ones that it had to replace. I do not recommend it. That is the review by Patrick there. 1 star, received batteries empty. And that's the only review on these specific batteries. Energy usage. Now for some answers. How much power does the tree use? To work out power consumption, we need wattage multiplied by hours used. First, let's focus on wattage. According to a quick Google search, watts equals amps times volts. We have the voltage of 48, and our amperage is simply 6,000 milliamp hours multiplied by 1,006 amp hours divided by hours, which in this figure is 1. This leaves us with 6 amps. If we multiply this by the amount of batteries, we get 576. This times 1.5 gives us a wattage of 864 watts. Now for the hours used. The trees in the movie do not stay on all night, as we have seen in the scene where the family is eating dinner. We will assume that when the trees turn off, the streetlights turned on. And as most streetlights run from sunset till sunrise, this gives us around 12 hours worth of tree usage. This means that trees have 10,468 watts per day. Conclusion: each tree in Fineville uses 10,368 watts per day. Number 2. Why has the monster not changed clothes? Conclusion: because he's stinky. Number 3. How long is a long? Long. In the film extended flashback that follows the Once-ler to corporate greed was introduced in the line, "Then it all started a long, long time ago." In this section, we will find out how long a long is. How long has passed? According to most sources, the Once-ler was about 21 years old when he started his business venture. It is unknown how old he is when Ted first meets him. Some sources speculate he's in his 90s, others think he's no older than 60. We have 2 key figures to work off, the Once-ler and O'Hare. These 2 are the only characters that both appear in the flashback and the present timeline. This is excluding the Lorax, who doesn't seem to age, and the other worker seen alongside O'Hare, but I've excluded him due to him only being seen minimally in the movie, and also because he appears to look the same apart from some grey hair. O'Hare. We will start with O'Hare, as he is seen as his old age lots throughout the movie, which can help us with this analogy. In the flashback where he gets the idea to sell air, we can clearly see that he is doing some community cleanup job. We can also clearly see he wears braces. The average age for a braces wearer is 7 to 14, and under 16-year-olds can volunteer for several local rubbish cleanup jobs, which looks to be around what O'Hare was doing for the scene, so we can safely estimate his age at around 14. Now for the present day. This may be a little harder. Average age to become a millionaire is 37, although unfortunately I cannot find the age of any zillionaires. I do know that a billionaire is around 59 years old, but since there aren't any zillionaires on our planet, of course, apart from Aloysius O'Hare. So O'Hare is unfortunately a dead end for this question. The Once-ler. Once again, we will focus on the Once-ler. As we have previously addressed, he was 21 years of age in the extended flashback in the film. But how old was he in the present day of the film? The film was published in 2012 and was based off the 1971 book by Dr. Seuss. This means that there are 51 years between the book and the film. This happens to be a suitable time gap between the extended flashback and the present day of the film. So, in the present day of the film, the monster is 71 years old, which fits the look of his character in the film. Now, we need to know that there is 51 years between the extended flashback and the main events of the movie. We need to know how long a long is. As the Once-ler says it twice, we simply divide 51 by 2. So, in conclusion, each long is 25.5 years long. Number 4, is O'Hare a fraud? Money. In the movie, O'Hare claims to be a zillionaire. But how much is a zillion? According to Google, a zillion is not a real number. However, I have decided to assign it a value based on scientific evidence. In the numeric system, you scale up from 10 to 100 to 1,000 to million to billion. Billion is the second value to end with letters ION. It is also coincidentally begins with the letter B, which is the second letter in the alphabet. This means that the 26th letter in the alphabet would be Z, which we can assign zillion to. This means that zillion shares the same value as hexavigintillion, otherwise known as sesquigentillion, a number with 81 number zeros, and commonly written as 10 to the power of 81 or 1 times 10 to the power of 81 in standard form. Since zillion is a better name, I think we should place it. But anyway, to be easy on O'Hare, we will assume he has only made 1 zillion off his air business. Profit per bottle. In the movie, we can clearly see that 1 bottle of air costs $100. We shall assume that they are in the US due to the origin of the book's writer, Dr. Seuss. Costs. In the movie, we see that Cy picks up an empty bottle of air before giving out a full one. This means that O'Hare does not need to pay every time a bottle is bought. What about wages? Minimum wage in the US in 2012, the time that the movie was made, was $7.25 per hour, and the workers work all day due to people needing to breathe constantly. So that's $174 per day. Now we need to know how many workers there are, and in the song Let It Grow, Cy says that he is the O'Hare Olivia guy, which means that he is the only one, so we need to pay him once. 174 times 18,627.8 days in 51 years is 3,241,227.2. So we will subtract $3,241,237.20 in wages. For O'Hare's sake, we'll assume that he gets oxygen for free. People. A human breathes in about 11,000 litres of air per day. Inhaled air is about 20% oxygen. Therefore, a human needs 2,200 litres of oxygen per day. But what is the population of Fneedville? Nobody on Google seems to know, so I have to find it myself, and I couldn't be bothered for 2 weeks, which is why this video has taken so long. But when I finally did decide that I could probably just use this method, I obviously continued. So, as we've previously discussed, Fneedville is set in the US, so a good estimate for how many people are in Fneedville would be the average population of a US city. Most cities in the US have a population of 1,500 to 50,000 people. This means that we can average the population of Fneedville at 25,750 people. So to find the amount of oxygen used by Fneedville in a day, we multiply the population by the amount of oxygen needed by one person to find an answer of 56,650,000 litres of oxygen for the entire town in one day. Bottles. Each oxygen bottle roughly resembles the 15-litre bottle pictured above. We already know that one person needs 2,200 litres of oxygen for them to survive. That means a human would need 146.6 recurring per day to sustain them. But how many are needed by the population? Due to there being 25,750 people, and each one would need 146.6 bottles, Fneedville would need 3,776,666.6 recurring bottles of air per day. Profit per day. We know that O'Hare sells each bottle of air for $100. The town requires 3,776,666.6 recurring bottles of air per day, so he makes 377,666,666.60 recurring dollars per day in profits. This is just from his main ventures of selling air to people and not from side products like the small bottle of air intended to fresh, as they are not bought by everyone in the city and therefore probably won't add up too much. But how much does he earn over the course of his business? To find this, we will have to find out when he started to sell air. When did O'Hare start his business? As previously discussed, O'Hare was around 14 when he first started selling air. As you found out, there are 51 years in between the O'Hare's appearance as a 14-year-old and between the present O'Hare. This means that he would be age 65 in the film, which might seem a bit old, but considering his enormous wealth, he could most likely afford some anti-aging treatment. But when did he start his business? The average age to start a successful business is 45, but many have done it at younger ages. Some of the youngest are around 16 years old. You can safely estimate that O'Hare started his business at around age 20, almost the same age as the Once-ler, whose business also became extremely profitable. This means that O'Hare Air has been in operation for around 45 years. Net profit. In a day, O'Hare makes $377,666,666.60. 365 of these days puts us at 1.3784843 times 10 to the power of 11. This multiplied by 45, the amount of years the business has been running for, leaves us at around 6.203175 times 10 to the power of 12. This is without cost, though. Subtracting 3,241,367.2 gives us around 6.203171799 times 10 to the power of 12. This may seem like a lot of money, precisely 6,203,171,759,000, but this is nothing in comparison to the money that O'Hare claims to have. Although a trillion is a lot more than anyone on Earth has currently, well, apart from Aloysius O'Hare, of course. But compared to 1 times 10 to the power of 81, That's quite like small. If we were to take away this total profit from what O'Hare claims to be making of the business, we would be left with the amount of money that O'Hare is lying about having. This is how much. That is a lot of zeros, but I have worked out how to say this number. So I will. O'Hare is lying about having this much money, and it's 999 quinvigintillion, 999 quatuovigintillion, 999 tresvigintillion, 999 duovigintillion, 999 unvigintillion, 999 vigintillion, 999 novendecillion, 999 octodecillion, 999 septendecillion, 999 sedecillion, 999 quindecillion, 909 quatuordecillion, 999 decillion, 999 duodecillion, 999 undecillion, 999 decillion, 999 nonillion, 999 octillion, 999 septillion, 999 sextillion, 999 quintillion, 999 quadrillion, 993 trillion, 796 billion, $828,241,000. Conclusion. Is O'Hare fraudulent? Yes, very. That's a lot of money that he lied about having, and he probably has even less due to sporadic spending like buying an airship and a floating limo. Question 5. This is the final question because that one took me like 10 hours in total. Is Psy a clone? Psy. As we already know, Psy is the only delivery guy in the movie, and is the only one employed by O'Hare to deliver air. But can he actually deliver all the air the company needs, or is there a clone army of him delivering air to all the residents of the town? Delivery. If we analyze a section of the interest on closely, we can see that it takes Psy 12 seconds to make a delivery and around 46 seconds to drive from place to place. This makes an average delivery about 58 seconds long. He needs to make around 3,776,666 journeys per day. This is equal to 299,046,628 seconds, or 6.94592300863 years. This is a lot more that can be done in one day. So there must be a clone army. How many? Now that we've established that there's a clone army of size, we need to know how many clones there are. Assuming that they work 24/7, this would mean that there are 2,536 clones, but they will all get tired and probably die. So let's give them a maximum work time of 9 hours, which would probably be about the max time allowed by law. This means that you need 2.66 times as many clones. It is very important to note that the extra clones do not affect the wage calculations. On the previous question, as the clones do not need money because they share with the main site. Conclusion. There are 6,746 size. That is the end. Now, this video took me about 2-3 weeks in total to make over the research and obviously writing it up and doing all the maths. It was very long, and I appreciate that probably quite a lot of it might be incorrect as well, but please don't comment in the section and comment about that, because this has already taken me long enough and I just want to get this out here, because I think it's probably worth sharing, even if it is for example, $1 or $2 off at the end, because realistically, even if I was on that question for $2 or $3 trillion out, it would not make that big of a difference at all to the other almost 60-ish nines. It's 1 zillion has 81 zeros. That's a lot of nines when you take away only 6 trillion from it. In fact, I had to do the maths on paper because no calculators were accurate enough to work it out, and they all just said, oh, it's the same because it's such a small number that you're taking away from it. But I have done it against all odds, and I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to subscribe because this takes me a lot of time, and if you like the video and want to see more stuff like this, then just obviously leave a like or maybe even a supportive comment. That'd be nice, but I appreciate probably not all of you have time for that. But oh well, I've been ranting long enough. It's been Strange Day, and goodbye.